We don't want any more of that vanity logo stuff. Just get on with it.
It's Rebel, the Pebble. For breakfast he eats hard-boiled eggs. It's Rebel, the Pebble. He's got no arms or legs. It's Rebel, the Pebble. The boy made out of metamorphic rock. It's Rebel, the Pebble. He lives in the next door block.
In May last year I was working alongside my good friend Buzz Aldrin, who, as he often did, was playing the part of my cruel mother in the film, You Can Have Your Cake and Eat It. Buzz was one of the most gifted stunt pebbles in the business, but in the scene I'm thinking of he nearly came a cropper. I was playing Lee Mundrizzle and I'd just baked a large chocolate cake, which I offered a piece of to my mother. The script directed Buzz to eat the entire cake as quickly as possible whilst mocking Lee in as withering a way as he could. Needless to say, the take went badly wrong because Buzz forgot his lines and could only think of nice things to say. How we all laughed.
Lee, you are a very nice pebble. Thank you for baking this delicious cake. I'm so blessed having a son like you. I'm your mother and I love you, Lee.
In this next clip from the film, The Throwing Game, I'm playing with Flint, my supposedly best friend, who ties me up and throws things at me. It's difficult getting out of the way when you're so heavily incapacitated, but there's a moment when Flint throws some nuts at me and misses, and rather than just carry on he apologizes, which becomes a running gag between us, as you'll see later. In this instance, rather than stop, he throws a somewhat larger thing at me, which, being unprepared, was pretty painful. Sure thing, Flint. I really like how we're best friends now.
Sorry, I missed.
This is the blanket I used in the film, Tog Heather again. As you can see, it's pretty small and you'll understand why the star of the film, Ida Down, didn't want to perform with it. Sleeping outside with it in sub-zero temperatures wasn't easy because, as they say, it was cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. I've been told this is a naval expression that dates back to the time of the great sailing warships, which employed powder monkeys, usually boys who would carry gunpowder cartridges from the powder magazine in the ship's hold to the cannoneers on deck. Next to each cannon there would be a brass tray with indentations to hold a layer of cannonballs. The cannonballs were stacked on the tray in a pyramid shape. Similar to the powder monkeys, the cannonball holding trays were called brass monkeys. If it got really, really cold, the brass monkey would contract just a little, enough to make the stack of cannonballs fall off and roll around on deck. It was literally cold enough to freeze the balls off a brass monkey. However, this story simply isn't true. It's an urban myth. I was once a stunt pebble in the film, You Can't Be Too Careful, which involved the use of a number of sharp kitchen implements. In the story, my mother, played by an informed Buzz Aldrin, kept a stash of knives under her bed, and one night she mistook me for an intruder. Fortunately, knives aren't very effective when used against pebbles, otherwise there would have been a nasty accident. Later, in the same film, my character Maurice goes on a camping trip with his mother. The tent was covered in holes because of another kitchen knife incident, and my mother, for reasons not explained, secretly didn't like the idea of camping, so pretended to put her tent up after I'd gone to bed, but instead drove off to a local boutique hotel. Imagine my surprise when Buzz and the rest of the crew really did do this at the end of the day's filming, leaving me alone for the night. I could have been eaten by wolves, and it took me hours the next day to find out where they'd disappeared off to. That's all for this series, folks. See you next time for another series of Rebel the Pebble, Stunt Stone to the Stars.
It's Rebel, the Pebble. For breakfast he eats hard-boiled eggs. It's Rebel, the Pebble. He's got no arms or legs. It's Rebel, the Pebble. The boy made out of metamorphic rock. It's Rebel, the Pebble. He lives in the next door block.
Flint and I are playing the throwing game. He tied me up a while ago, but I don't know where he's got to.
Sorry, I missed.